Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We're covering Beyond the Gates. These are episodes, I think this is episode 99 through 103. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. I'm sorry I am late. I must do better. Please like this video. Please also subscribe, and you can leave your comments below. Now let's get into these week's episodes. Okay, so Andre is up at the hospital. Well, we'll get to him. Let's go to the hospital. We're still at the hospital. We're at the hospital. Shanice and Ashley. Ashley's still being stank towards Shanice over a man that she says that she's completely over. Okay. Shanice says, I know that you keep giving me all this attitude. And I also know that breakups are hard, especially when you thought that he was the one. Oh, please. She's so crazy. Ashley promises that she's over Derek, and so surprised that Shanice pounced on Derek. Shanice said that it was never a secret that I actually thought that Derek was cute. So, hey. And she said that she likes to sample on the vanilla side of the menu every now and then. But Shanice did offer, as a way to keep the peace, that she'll fall back. But Ashley swears again she's over Derek. And then Shanice asks, what are home helped Ashley to move on so quickly? And then Andre pops up. Once Andre approaches Ashley and Shanice says, I already been accused of stealing one man today. I wouldn't want Ashley to think I'm making my way through her little black book. And then Shanice walks away. So Andre and Ashley, they have a conversation. Andre was there because he was supposed to be visiting with a friend with Ted, but they canceled while he was on the elevator up to Ted's office. So Ashley is talking about, this friend must have been some type of model. And Andre is just kind of thrown off by that, like, why are you talking like you're jealous? Andre, she plays it off, and Andre asks her out to dinner. And then she plays this. Ashley is draining to me. I thought I liked her, but I don't think so. I thought Derek was the problem, but I don't know. Or maybe they both the problem. I don't know. But it's just like every single thing, her self-esteem is so low. And I'm just trying to really figure out Andre. Because with the two women he seems to have had to pick them up from wherever they're at as far as mentally, emotionally, and all that stuff. Like, lady, it's too late in the day to still be this, I don't know why he would want to have a date with me. You guys have been flirting. He's been with you, coddling you, caressing you, trying to help you through this breakup that you got over in 2 days because the one you really want, Jenny Mai, the black one that you want, wants you back. So it's just like, what? But you could be with supermodels. But giving someone in scrubs a second look, it's so dumb to me. Andre bypasses all of that and asks Ashley, where would Ashley pick if she could go anywhere? She chose Paris. I guess Andre already knew that, so he surprised Ashley with a beret and an invitation to his place. And what he does is sets up the place to be a full Parisian fashion and all this stuff. You see the Eiffel Tower, and I think he does a little photo shoot or whatever. Anyways, we're done with them for the day. Kat and Thomas. This is after sex. Thomas is all excited. He thinks he really did his big one. Yeah, slugger. Thinks the sex was worth the wait. And he wants feedback from Kat, and she says, it was lovely. Oh, Kat. Kitty cat. She's more glued to her phone, and Thomas is like, I guess it's kind of weird that after what we did, you want to get on the phone. She says that she's distracted by Chelsea because they're supposed to meet concerning the business and all that. He said, okay, all right. Thomas leaves. Chelsea comes, and she came with a new design for Kat to look at, but she noticed that there was a condom wrapper on the floor. Can you see the whole setup of that whole thing of Thomas and Kat having sex? It wasn't right. She's going to tell Chelsea that, before anything happened, it felt like the vibes were right. But then when we got into it, it just wasn't really great. She says that her body was reacting and all that, but it felt like I was out of my body. She also said, "Ooh, oh," she's like, "This is what y'all hyping everything up to be." It was lovely. Oh Lord. Chelsea says, you know, first times are weird for everybody. Yeah, this. I think that was it. But Kat didn't have a good experience. I don't think that she should have ever went with him. I don't even understand why. I don't know, things have had to be perfect, but just like it was on a whim that all of a sudden that you wanted to give yourself to him. For what? Wait till she finds out that Thomas was trying to sleep with Eva before making his way over to her. I think that's crazy. So of course Thomas left. He goes I think the Orphagines, meets with Eva. He wants to talk about which transpired between them, but Eva asks Thomas for a rain check because at this point she's trying to do something good for Leslie. Leslie and Eva, they were at dinner at Orphagines already, and basically Leslie beat around the bush, but finally got it out that she wanted Eva to pay for her. We find out that Leslie does not have a job with bartending. The job basically evolved into they wanted waitresses that were 35 and below, and of course Leslie does not fit that category. And Eva's like, "What are we going to do? It looks like that's ageism. We should get a lawyer and sue them." But she was basically not really coherent to or compliant to do that. But she says, "You know, I have another plan, and I'm going to go there." So where does she go? She tries to get a loan from Ted. And basically, you're out of your mind, Leslie, for all of this. She's like, "You know, you can give me the loan, and Nicole will never know." Now you know that you're going to rub that in Nicole's face. Come on, you already have done so much to her. Ted demanded that Leslie leave, and then all of a sudden Leslie said, "I won't forget this." Now, other things are going to occur this week, and I wonder if Leslie has forgotten it or just glad that she got what she got. So then Eva goes over to Leslie's, and Leslie tells her that Ted told her no. So then Leslie came up with a brilliant plan for Eva to ask Ted. And she's like, "I don't want to do all that. Da, 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 da. You're the only one that can actually get this done. Please do this. Da, 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 da." So Ted goes and meets with Eva, Eva meets up with Ted. And basically she says, "You know, let me borrow it, and I'll make sure I pay back every cent. Because it don't look like Mama gonna have anything to actually give, even though she." I don't know, Eva. You just are really weird with your mother. But of course, this woman is toxic and highly manipulative, and you've been in her web for so many years. Ted ends up agreeing and writing a check to Eva. Jacob and Naomi. They're at Orphagines, and Naomi tells Jacob that she met with Regina, and this is June's sister. When she went to the door, Regina slammed the door in her face as soon as she mentioned June. Jacob says, you know, that she should just step back and wait until later. But she did say that, "I don't know if she's going to contact me, but I slid my business card underneath her door, and we'll see what happens." Jacob, begins to speak about Eva still wanting to deal with Leslie after Leslie was accusing her of running down Laura. Naomi says, you know, it's difficult to distance yourself from a toxic family or family member. And she said that she empathizes, right, with Eva, and kind of just relating to her because she has her own toxic person, which is Bill. But I think kind of Danny is too, or at least was. And as they're still talking, in walks Regina. Regina says she wanted to talk. Let's get this over with. She hasn't spoken to June in years and has no intention to. It said Regina said that June is stubborn, and I think they said, don't they know it? Does June have any other family members? And Regina was like, look, June should not be anyone else's responsibility. So she didn't give up any information. Um, Naomi showed Regina June's picture that we've been seeing for months. And Regina says that she has a picture of the children that are on it. She pulls out her phone, and the children's names are Ron and Cecile, June's children. Um, Regina says that Ron should be now thinking about college age or so. Regina says that June decided that motherhood wasn't for her and abandoned her children. Foster care had took up had a case against June and took those children, and they never seen them again. She knew that the children were adopted, but not until they were told. Regina did hire a PI, a personal investigator, but it was a closed adoption, and that gave them a roadblock into finding June's children. Regina was just giving a short little memory of what it was like with these children. They did have a relationship with their aunt, and definitely it looks like with their mother. Regina says that she'll never forgive June for throwing her kids away, and then in walks June. All right, so Tuesday, Regina and June. June, we find out, was an addict. June does not want to live with Regina, and Regina is an offering. June is affected. She ends up seeing the picture that Regina was showing Jacob and Naomi, and she basically was becoming a little belligerent, but in a more silent type of way. She was so surprised and caught off guard and asking, where did you get this? Da 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 da. And basically, Regina said, "You don't recognize your own children?" "My children? No, I just found this picture." And June denies having children, and Regina calls out their names, and June looks kind of off when she's saying this. It's like has lost her memory, but then it also seems like she's lying and faking. So you never know with June. Just like she was making up that story about her family and talking about Jessica and all that from As the World Turns. So I don't really have a solid yay or nay if June is faking, but maybe there could be a mixture of both. She doesn't remember certain things, but she could be also lying. And we can already tell that whatever happened to her, she's tried her best to push it out of her mind as if nothing happened. And that's probably it. But I think that June needs some therapy to kind of unlock some things, I don't know who said this, but pictures can't feel and pictures ain't real. June accuses Regina of throwing her away, and Regina denies that. It was actually the opposite. It was June that left, and probably during one of her drug spurges and all that. I guess she took the babies or whatever. But Regina believes that there has been some type of trauma that happened to June that led her to be an addict, or led her to a breakdown that contributed to June abandoning her children. But of course, there's just such a cantankerous relationship. June and Regina just like, I don't want to deal with you. And I think June left. Regina was there, and she basically told Jacob and Naomi, "Do not call me again." I mean, you still came. You still came, Regina, and you did not have to come. Ashley and Andre. I don't really see it for these two. Andre tells Ashley he had a habit of, was telling Ashley because Ashley's just so Debbie Downer about herself, that she has this habit of talking herself out of wanting what she's wanting, that she's wanted. He poured her a glass of champagne and raised a toast to a night of Ashley saying yes to her desires. That could be a lot. I wonder what kind of person Ashley's going to be once Andre gives her the bean. Because once you go black. Andre did order some food from a French bistro. Um, and then he asked Ashley, what other dreams does Ashley have? She said that she didn't know because she spent her time studying to have a career, which is being a nurse. And she's never had anyone ask her this or offered this, and because she said Derek never offered her. Derek offered her the opposite of what you are now offering her today. I don't know how I feel about that because now you're just acting like Andre's the best thing since sliced pie. But it's just like you two were together forever, you and Derek, and I think that how you guys were socialized, that's how you became a couple and really sustained a relationship for a long time. Because I don't think that there was any expectation out of Derek. He was just the fireman who comes home to his woman after a while. You take care of him and all that good stuff. I don't know. I just don't want to put that on Derek like that. But of course, Ashley is. She did declare that she doesn't want to miss what's right in front of her. I mean, if that's not suggestive towards Andre, Andre learned to be impromptu after his parents suddenly passed away, and he did motivate Ashley to also do the same. Andre kissed her shoulder, and Ashley became uneasy and decided that she wanted to go home. And then Ashley kissed him on the cheek. Obviously, eventually they're gonna sleep together. By the previews of next week, I kind of think it's gonna happen, but y'all can tell me what you think in the comments. Vanessa and Joey. Joey was upset about there was an outbid on the property that he wanted. Joey wants Vanessa to counter the offer, and Vanessa refuses to counter it. He's like, "We'll double the money." He says, "Well, if I can't have this, we're going to double the money of a real estate firm that he's laundering money from instead." At that point, Vanessa started looking weary. But Joey assured her if anyone started asking questions, he had pretty powerful friends who could answer them for them. That looks like it turns Vanessa on, and says, she thinks that she can make a counter offer. Okay. Okay. They moved in for a kiss, but unexpectedly, Doug walks in, drunk, and he's ready to gamble. Vanessa's pissed because she says, "You promised, Doug, you promised me that you would stop gambling." And then Doug says, "We all make promises we can't keep. The money I lose would be what is going to be laundered by Joey anyways." Since Vanessa and Joey were in bed, figuratively, and we don't want to say figuratively and literally, threatening to tell others about their relationship, Vanessa is adamant that no one should find out. Joey gets a pouncer to escort Doug out off the premises. Joey then shoves him against the wall, and Joey, Joey basically puts a demand on Doug. You are leaving. How you leave is up to you. Doug threatened to tip off Jacob, and Vanessa insists Doug is drunk and as far as talking to Joey, and says that he won't remember anything in the morning. He leaves with Vanessa, and then Doug instructs one of his bodyguards or bouncers to put a device on there as a tracking device and all that good stuff, so that he can keep an eye on Doug. Okay, so Leslie is window shopping for some designer items. Eva goes to Ted, and Ted asks, "What did Kat do to you now?" And then she was like, "That's not what time I'm on right now." Ted ends up questioning Leslie, like, "So did Kat really do this to you as far as sabotage?" And Eva says, "It was my duty to fulfill, despite what Kat said." Eva begged Ted to not go to Kat because it would only keep the fire burning, but Ted refused. I will say this, that people have been saying it forever and a day, at how Nicole and Ted treat Kat, even though she's the miracle baby. um, but they don't really believe her and kind of make her feel less than already. So it's like, Eva, you're really getting the good end of the stick out of this whole situation. And it does feel like Ted is doing certain things out of guilt. But tell me in the comments what you think about that. Because it's just like, there's no way. But for some reason, you are making sure that you do not upset this person. I don't know. Eva at all. I don't know. Not saying that Kat is not wrong for the stuff that she was doing. I didn't like for her to actually make other people casualties for the animosity that she has towards this girl. Sorry, Kat. Do I think you've had a right to feel the way that you felt or feeling? Yes. But I don't think that you are handling it right all the time. You took it too far. Eva goes back to Leslie. Eva confronts Leslie over Kat. Why did you do that? Da, 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 da. Leslie says that Ted had a right to know, well, what kind of a child he had raised. Eva is tired of all the fighting. And then Leslie says that the fighting has just begun. Here's what's up. If Kat keeps alienating Ted, guess what's going to happen to you, Eva? You would become the #1 daughter. Now, Leslie thought mentioning Kat would make Ted loosen up his wallet. Eva presented him with the check because at that point, Leslie was not. Leslie didn't think that Eva was going to get anything, and you need to do this, you need to do that. Da, 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 da. Eva pulls out the check, and she's so happy, and all this stuff. It's like, you really doubted me, Mama. I don't really need to be manipulated. I can do this freely. Then Leslie says, next time you need to get more. I don't know where this person comes from, but you are quite crazy. So Eva, she needs to run. She's going to meet someone. And Leslie is wanting answers. Who, da 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 da. And she's just basically keeping it to herself at this point. But then Leslie says, fine, walk out that door. You'll come running right back to Mama. Kat and Thomas. Oof. She reluctantly takes a call from Thomas. Thomas wanted to meet up, and Kat was giving every excuse as she could give, and it was not working. So eventually she gave in, and they're going to be meeting at the country club. Eva meets with Thomas, and Thomas tells Eva about why he was in Eva's room. Oh, he told who? Kat, about why he was in Eva's room, but not about them actually about to do it. And it's great. I think it's great that happened. Because she needed to know. He swears that he was wrong to tell Eva about about Kat's his personal frustrations with Kat and those intimate details. To me, it felt like Eva was faking, kind of being nonchalant about all of that. Like, I don't care that you told me that. Da, 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 da. He said that he's glad that they didn't have sex. And he was not using Eva to make Kat jealous. He says that he would be with her if he was not in love with her. And she said, love. Love. She is figuring out that Thomas and Kat had finally done the deed. And because he wants things to go back to normal and all that good stuff, he was heartbroken and tells him to leave. And we see that Eva starts crying. I don't know. Because you were pouncing on him, even though Kat was with Thomas. You know that. You knew that. And you were still about to hop in his bed less than 8 hours before Thomas got to Kat. So I don't think I feel sorry for you, unfortunately. All right. So Ted did a summon for Kat to come. He sent an urgent text to her, and she appears. And Ted snaps out on Kat after she comes to his apartment. But Kat said that that's not the case at all, and that Eva simply misunderstood what she was. That Eva simply misunderstood what she was supposed to do, which is an Eva problem. Ted wants Kat to leave Eva alone. And she says, I tried to, but you recruited me to train my replacement. So at the Kat leaves, but at the country club, Thomas and Kat, they do link up. And Thomas is just so whatever locked in to the a Kat, and says that he wished they could do this all day or all night. I mean, Kat reminded that, hey, Bill is going to be expecting you early in the morning at the office, and he wanted to know again, are you okay after the whole experience of sex? And she can't really express what she could have changed about it. He says that he's glad that they waited because the lovemaking was way better and meaningful. Okay. And then Kat was like, "Oh, that really is the sweetest thing." Oof. Okay. Then Thomas says, he's happy that they are on the same page about so many things, and then she's looking like, yeah, yeah. Funny. That is funny. Okay, so let's wrap this up. This is Wednesday. Martin needs Nicole's help in order to save his marriage, and Vernon does his best to assuage Anita's fears. A shocked Danny gives her daughter some tough advice. All right, so we begin with Anita and Vernon. Anita is panic-stricken right now. She's blanking on some of the lyrics and some of the choreography. John Price, who is the promoter manager of this whole reunion tour or reunion concert, he has this last-minute meeting before the show, and he ends up stunning Anita by saying, I think that you should do a solo number. But Anita was adamant, saying, no, this is about the group. It's not about me, da-da-da-da-da. No, it belonged to the three singers. So back at the Dupree's mansion, the Articulates, meaning Tracy and also Sharon, they are just going through some of the choreography. Chelsea's there. And Chelsea had this great idea to give the Articulates some social media traffic. Then the outfits came, and Chelsea was like, look, this is good for some grannies, but I think we need to upscale them a little bit. Chelsea did some last-minute sketches, and the seamstress, or whomever that is, ended up making the adjustments, and they liked them. Funny that they didn't like it when Anita said that they needed to update fashion and all that stuff. Interesting. But that's neither here or there. The past is the past, right? Chelsea interviewed Tracy and Sharon. We find out what happened with Tracy's career. She was able to headline a lot of clubs and club cabaret throughout the country. Sharon became a local choir director at her church and vocal coach. And I find that interesting, especially how Sharon wants to get into the spotlight again like that. They begin to talk about Anita as Anita and Vernon have come home. But Sharon and Tracy expressed how they viewed Anita as a sister. And they asked for, Chelsea asked for Tracy and Sharon to sing a little bit something without Anita, and they did it. A little doo-wop, bop, bop. After that, I think Chelsea had left the room, and Anita seen the wardrobe, and it looked like Anita wasn't liking what was going on, but she loved it, and she thinks that Chelsea was a miracle worker. Anita thanked Tracy and Sharon for giving her a chance to make it right. And Sharon said that I guess that we truly want to move on. We're going to have to let go of the old baggage, please. Tracy did say that we all played a part in how everything turned out. And it was not your fault, Anita. That was just a story that we told ourselves. Anita says that there's enough blame to go around. And also she tells the ladies that Jim Price wants her to do a solo jazz number. And Anita said that initially she said no, but wants the group to vote what she should do. Naomi and Danny. Naomi visits with Danny for a few minutes, and she expresses some things. I think she came over to bring over a dress or something to that nature. But anyways, she did express that how she feels guilty for keeping major details about Martin's situation from Jacob. And also troubled by Bill being connected to the murder of that Kenneth dude. And Danny said, look, when she realized that, oh, they didn't even tell me all of that about the bill situation. Anyway, she got over that quickly. But she said that you are not allowed to have marriage problems. You and Jacob are the last couple standing. Basically, forget the loyalty that you have towards your family. You got to make sure that you save your immediate family, meaning your husband. I don't know if she's going to take that advice, but it looks like that she's quite Dupree-centric, and I think that that is going to cause a rift. People could say that Jacob is being too tough and hard, but then it's like with Jacob, what he said before, I think like a week or so ago, you still took an oath by the law. Both of them did. And now you're telling me to, for them, make the exception and not really move forward in whatever type of investigation. A crime is a crime. And y'all decided to hide it, even with justifications as to why you were doing it. Martin has his first therapy session with Nicole, and she spends that time to help him understand that his feeling of powerlessness is a direct result of other people deciding how the situation was going to be handled. When humans love, we can end up doing the most damaging things without meaning to. And Martin wants to know, how does he get back home to Smitty? And Nicole said, baby steps. Do not force anything too quickly. Nicole was suggesting that possibly because Martin's still having nightmares, possibly some things to help him sleep. He said that he does not want to take any type of drugs. And so Nicole suggested breathing exercises. Danny then comes in. She interrupts. She has outfits for both Nicole and also for Martin. Nicole said, look, because Danny just said, oh, because how they were both approaching this whole situation, that they're not coming to Anita's thing or to the Articulate's thing. Nicole said, you know, mother's feelings aren't on my top 10 list of things to worry about at this moment. But anyways, Danny ends up guilting Nicole, and Nicole gives in and she's coming. Martin remains unconvinced, even though there's a lot that Danny was saying, like, you're staying in your grandparents' home rent-free. And Martin said that I offered to pay. How do you pay somebody that's got it all? Even though the gesture is great, you know. I would never just take advantage of anyone, at least without offering to pay anything. So we move on to Kat and Samantha. Kat has enlisted Samantha to do some content on social media to help promote their newest bag. But we're seeing that Samantha's not really into it, and she's not focused. She's thinking about her dads, who are now broken up. So Kat doesn't know what's going on, and she fills Kat in on what's happening. And she says, why am I just finding out? And Sam said, well, you've been quite preoccupied with work and your relationship with Tomas. Oh. Naomi drops by, and she gives Samantha a shoulder to cry on also. And I forget who said it, but maybe the Dupree should stop falling in love. And Naomi said that she won't hear that. Stuff happens, life happens, and we move on, and we fall in love all over again. And Kat said, show us your secret, Naomi, as to how to keep a marriage intact. Not being the, how could I say this, the militant of the Dupree family that's going to really wreck your marriage. That's the start. Yeah. So obviously we know that Jacob and Naomi's marriage is going to be tested, because as soon as they start praising a couple on this show, it's downhill. We started with Nicole and Ted, and now look at things. They keep saying all these folks are strong. Okay, back at the Hamilton. Is it Hamilton? Not Hamilton. Richardson's home. Tyrell is trying to convince Smitty to come to the concert. Yes, he's mad at his dad, but at the same time, I think it's great if you would come. Anita will notice that you're not there, as Tyrell's trying to guilt him to come to the concert. He was more into dropping off Tyrell. I was like, no, come on. So Tyrell says, you taught me to face difficulties and not hide from them, because really Smitty doesn't want to be around the family, especially with the latest conflict that's going on. And then Tyrell just gut punched him and said, maybe I've been looking up to the wrong person. Vernon shows up, and he tries to convince Smitty to go to the concert for Anita's sake, because Smitty is one of the few that are fans of Anita Dupree as the jazz artist, and has every album and knows every song. So we move on to Thursday. Sharon and Tracy, they're basically supportive of Anita's singing solo. Sharon had all of these questions of, why are you coming to us with all this? She said that before, I wouldn't even think twice, and I would have made a decision on my own, but she wanted to do all this to incorporate them, and they respected it. And then Sharon suggests that all three of them should get solos. Anita said, okay, of course, let's do this. Tracy said, Now, Anita has worked for her spotlight that she's got. And at this point, at this concert, be graceful. Anita explained as to why she wanted to do it. She wanted to do it for her family because the family is really familiar with Anita, a part of the Articulates. None of them really hear Anita as a solo singer, accomplished as a jazz solo singer, and kind of just want to impress them. They get together, but they have little fun songs, and they just don't really hear her voice anymore, or hear her voice like it should. So that's why Tracy gave the speech to Sharon. So Sharon said, we'll let you have it. Danny gives Martin some tough love. I'm going to tell you this much. Danny was being auntie. And you only can just respect her for that. And she calls him a selfish son of a bitch. I said, oh, that's right, though. She says, why can't you put on your big boy pants and support your family? You have everyone walking around you like, we'll shatter you if we say the wrong thing. Look, you can go back to being a mopey Eeyore once the night is over, but show up for your grandparent. So Martin finally gets his act together and says that I'm coming. Nicole and Smitty, they have a conversation. Nicole says that she thought that him and Martin were the strongest couple in the family. And Smitty thought vice versa about Nicole and Ted. Of course, Nicole's situation is different. Ted, everything just came out of nowhere. It came out of, how can I say this? Yeah, for Nicole, everything came out of nowhere. And the rug was ripped from under her. With Smitty says this didn't come out of nowhere. We had plenty of fights leading up to this point. So much that, Martin just would not tell him the truth, even though he said that he was ready to hear the truth from him. Martin lied to him for 2 years because Nicole did say, he's really feeling bad. And Smitty said he should feel guilty. I like that type of attitude, Smitty. And Nicole wanted to bring up this point of, Martin wasn't the one orchestrating the cover-ups. And Smitty says, hey, I'm furious with Vernon and everyone else that's a part of it, too. However, Martin still made his decisions on his own. He's a grown man. Smitty did say that he's terrified about what could be next. Joey still wants the favor from the Duprees. We don't know what's going to happen with that. Nicole says sometimes she can see Ted's side of things. However, Ted chose to have an affair. And Martin had a terrible situation forced on him. Smitty says, how do I live with a man I don't trust? He kept secrets in order to maintain Smitty's innocence, said Nicole. And Smitty he says, logically, I understand that, but the pain is greater inside of all of this, not logic. And to think that you don't think that I could grasp things because I'm a white person. I came into this family. I came into his life knowing I was white, he was black, and all of that. And I accepted all that and I embraced that. And I don't think that I should have been locked out of it. I agree with him. If you don't know Smitty or know your mate by now, then there's something wrong, I think. Nicole suggests to come to the concert. Smitty said that he'll think about it. He wants to speak with Martin first. They do speak. It's very awkward, but they're on the same page. Smitty wants to come to the concert, and Martin says, I think that that's a great idea. So Smitty's going to come. No hug, no nothing as of yet. So, look, baby steps, as Nicole said. So Vernon and Andre end up running into each other at Orphan Jeans. And Vernon just blurts out saying, I hear you're having an affair with my baby girl. And what are your intentions towards Danny? Andre says that Danny is an amazing person. She's a strong woman who accepts responsibilities for her choices and believes that she wants respect above all else. She's like Anita in that way. Vernon says, you've really studied her and you know who my daughter is. And Vernon also says, I like you. I've always have. And he says, don't give me a reason to change my opinion. Well, what happens next week may change your opinion from what I saw from the previews, Vernon. Tyrell ends up meeting with Jessica. I forgot about them. That's been some weeks ago. He tries to win her back. He says that he did the same thing that put his dads in a bad place, which was poor communication. And he wanted to see if he could do a do-over with Jessica. And did he mess up for good? Jessica says she doesn't know. And that's all I can really give you right now. Tyrell freaked out. However, I do think that Jessica was pushed into a situation that did not need to be. Tyrell is just not that type of person. And I don't want to say that I'm blaming Jessica, but I think that if she wasn't pushed and really learned Tyrell a lot more, she would learn what to do and not to do with Tyrell at the same point. Now, Tyrell was wrong. We know that. But it's just like, he had help into helping him react the way that he did. However, he should not have reacted the way he did at the same point. If y'all get what I mean. So Vernon sees that Tyrell was with Jessica, and Jessica leaves. He sits down and just says, you know, a little bit about what he did, and hopefully he didn't wreck anything with her. But Tyrell is upset because the family is still keeping secrets. He hates being treated like a baby. And I would love for people to know that I can handle more than what they think I can. Especially after surviving the foster system. Vernon admits that there are missing parts to his dad's story, but that's not his place to tell. That's up to his parents. However, he said that he's heard Tyrell loud and clear. I respect you, da-da-da-da-da. But he says that if his parents ask him about Tyrell, he said that he would tell them to be more open about it, as far as what they share with their son. And that put a smile on his face. I wish that more adults would do that. Not saying that you still have to go into complete details of everything, but allow your children to be respected. And I think that's what Tyrell has been really yelling from the rooftops. Like, can I please be respected more? Of course, we could say a child needs to stay in his place. We get it. We get it. Andre goes to the Dupree home. He's got some business with the Articulates. Danny's wondering why you're doing there. Are you here to ask my dad for my hand in marriage and all that stuff? It's like, no, we're not doing that. But he says that we did run into each other, and he kind of gave his approval of us being together. Danny also asked a little bit about Ashley. You know, if you have feelings for her or someone else, let me know. Look, I was upfront with my feelings for Bill. So that's what Danny keeps saying, but these folks don't want to be honest. It's quite crazy. So Sharon had problems breathing, and then she just said, you know, I can't do this. So she's having a panic attack also in regards to the concert. The ladies imp her up and say, no, we want you a part of this. And now we're into Friday's episode. Back at Orphan Jeans again, Leslie and Eva are sitting down having lunch, dinner, whatever. Leslie complains to Eva about not having the tickets to go to the concert. Then Leslie says, this is Ted's fault. I said, Lord. All because Ted didn't give up the money sooner. I said, oh my Lord. Eva ends up going to the bathroom and the waitress hands the check and all that good stuff. So Leslie digs into Eva's purse, saying, oh, she's going to treat us today. While she's in Eva's purse, she finds that there's a ticket that Ted gave her to go to the concert. She swipes that ticket and, of course, using Eva's credit card to pay for the meal. By the time Eva comes back from the bathroom, Leslie's ready to skip out of there, and she says give the bill to, or give whatever over to Eva. Eva signs because her credit card's being used. And then she figures out that Leslie went through her purse and found the ticket. She beelines it to Ted to tell him about what happened. And she says, I don't know what she's going to do. Ted ends up giving his ticket because he does not want to sit next to her and all that good stuff. And hopefully Eva can tame her mother this time. At the hospital, Vanessa comes and meets Doug and says, let's go to the concert. Doug says he's not going because he's done pretending that they're happy. And at this point, this pisses Vanessa off and says, like, she suggests that he stops drinking and stop gambling and stop blurting out things at the worst possible moments, or she won't be able to keep him safe. He ends up giving his ticket over to Shanice so that she can go to the concert, because I think her and Ashley were talking about it, like she wished that she could go to the concert or whatever, blah, 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 blah. At the concert, of course, everybody's gathering around. We didn't see Mona or Lauren there, which I think that would have been cool, but hey. Samantha tries and fails to get Marty and Smitty to sit together. Baby steps, baby. Baby steps. Naomi and Smitty, they have a moment where they're like, look, we're going to have to keep our secrets to ourselves and what we know in order to protect our loved ones. Leslie arrives and makes somewhat of a semi-scene. Nicole sees them, Kat sees them, Eva sees them. You know, Kat's giving Eva the evil, like, why are you here? My man's not here, da-da-da-da-da. I'm not here for that, da-da-da-da-da. Well, your mother shouldn't be here either, and then Eva sees them together. Oh, my God, you already knew she was coming, Eva, so I don't know why you put on the theatrics. So Eva runs over there, because I think Kat was like, you better keep your mother together out of this whole situation. Nicole and Danny were trying to figure out ways to get rid of Leslie, but they said, look, there's too many people around, so we don't want to do that. Leslie arrived. Okay, Vernon does warn Leslie against ruining the night. And she said, I won't. I'm here to enjoy the Articulates. So the ladies do perform. For me, it felt like they were singing old music with a 80s or 90s track. I actually enjoyed Anita's performance better. Only because it's when Anita did perform at karaoke, I felt like we were just doing that over again. Tracy and Sharon, they sounded great. You could tell that they were lip syncing at that point, but hey, we all can't be great all at once doing something live, so whatever. I did enjoy Anita's performance. I should have said this beforehand, but whatever. Derek and Ashley finally, I think Derek asked Ashley out so that they can talk a little bit. Derek thinking that things are kind of just moving over because Ashley was like, I'm tired of this like silence and fighting and all that. And not so much fighting, but all this tension where we can't really talk to each other. Derek takes this as a sign to ask Ashley, you know, why can't we just get back together? Ashley's like, no, we're not doing that. And we're never getting back together. We're never, ever, ever getting back together. So that was that on that. This week was kind of short, cool. A lot of it was spent on the Articulates towards the end of the week. Of course, the 100th episode aired. I thought that they were going to do something really big, but it didn't. However, we did get the Articulate concert, but they got some other things coming up next week. So that's all I have, y'all. I appreciate you guys for hanging with me. Please like this video, subscribe, and until the next one, peace.